Many thanks to Resonix Sound Solutions for making this podcast a reality. Find out more about Resonix sound treatments at resonixsoundsolutions.com. Welcome to the SQology podcast, and hello, Mike. How are you?
Hey, what's happening, Clifton?
Oh, it's another fun-filled winter week.
Yeah.
I'm done with, unfortunately, I don't get to, live in a temperate Arizona, Florida climate, so I'm pretty much done with winter already. I'm sure there's plenty to go.
Oh, yeah. Has it been snowing up your way?
We've gotten some, nothing crazy, inch or two here and there, but it's been more the temperature fluctuations. Like, it was down in single digits, and then right now it's in the 20s. Tomorrow it's supposed to be up in the 50s. We came out single digits not too long ago, and then, by Christmas, it's looking like at least the week of Christmas is going to be in the 60s, but then I'm sure it'll plummet after that again. So it's just every time the fluctuations happen, my body goes, ugh.
Yeah, it's chaos.
It is chaos. Speaking of chaos, car audio and competition and such things. So the last time we really discussed anything newsworthy as far as that goes was post Aggieland. That was months ago now. And of course, all of our summer schedules as usual, best laid plans, and then time is gone. So I guess the next big event after that would have been SVR, which you were a judge at SVR, right?
Oh, yeah. Myself and my brother Chris was also judging in the money round for that one.
Okay, so you're both in the money round. All right. And
yeah.
Then I guess there was a total of 6 judges, including you two, in the money round?
Yeah. We had, I think, a really good judging crew, honestly. It was a super busy weekend, We had, had to be close to 50 cars or something like that we did. So it was...
Seems like there was a lot. And then there was, I guess, I asked Emma, MASQ, was Mecca there too?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Yep.
So that was a lot of judges going through cars.
It is. It's always, shows like that, like it and, Aggie Lands of the past and stuff like that. There's just so much going on. It's got to be kind of tough for competitors because we did have a pretty set schedule, and we adhered to it pretty well. But things happen. Some people are a little faster, some people are a little slower. And the competitors have to kind of just hang out by the car for pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, and it's hard to schedule for everybody. You can kind of schedule around a couple main things, whether it's the money round or what have you, but then if Mecca has 3 judges and, you have potentially install with Emma, you have there's a lot going on there just for everybody to keep on top of at any given moment.
Oh yeah. It's a lot to juggle, and I applaud the effort that, yourself and Richard, who was in charge this last time, put forth to make such a great event happen, because it's not easy. That's so many moving parts to make that happen and get done, at a decent time on Sunday, so everybody can leave out.
For sure, yeah. And there too, I guess it's a good thing in that the cars are pretty much in consistent spots, so you know where to grab them, everything else. On the downside, and the cars are kind of stuck in there until everybody's done. If somebody needs to leave early or if things drag on longer or whatever else, there's not a whole lot of flexibility in that case to take care of it.
Yeah, it's difficult, But, it ran as smooth as it possibly could. We got done at a really decent time. There was still daylight, so that's always a win, for a show of that size.
For sure. And I guess the next year's will be kind of advertising as we go along as well with Larry, but which this doesn't have anything connection with that necessarily. But Steel Valley is on the schedule again for 2026. I assume fairly similar setup as far as I know. The IASCA, MASQ, EMMA, and then I guess ECA is going to be there as well on top.
Yeah. I mean, the last couple of years, the money round's kind of been powered by, ICA or, the CA format.
Right.
But the, this year's going to be a little bit different in that the money round will be its own entity aside from that. And then ECA will just be one of the orgs that is also, there participating alongside the others like IASCA, EMMA, and, MECA and so on and so forth, all that kind of thing.
Right. Very cool. I don't think MECA is confirmed to be there yet, but I would assume they would be.
Yeah, I'm not really part of the planning for that show.
Yeah, I'm not putting you on the spot or anything. I was just thinking out loud that, but if they are, that's going to be a lot of judges because you got 6 with the money round, potentially 4 with ECA, potentially 2 to 3 with EMMA, plus Mask, plus IASCA. If you're in the upper classes, you got another 2 to 3 with, install and everything.
Yeah.
And then 3 with MECA, assumably. So, I mean, that's a busy week.
It's a full load. Yeah. It makes it really tough. The judging's going to have to be pretty tight and on time to be able to pull this off. If they're going to have the same number of cars, which I imagine they will. They always kind of fill that place up. So it'll be a challenge for Larry and Richard and whoever else is helping out with scheduling.
Yeah, but it looks like good round of judges that'll definitely give various forms of feedback plus the orgs and everything. I mean, there's not another at this point. There's not another event that really comes close to it as far as getting that level of feedback and diversity in one event. It's on a whole nother level.
Yeah, it's quite ambitious.
But that'll be awesome. So I guess pre-registration starts Friday, January 16, and then the actual event is, when is the event? July 18. Looks like July 17, 18, 19. So be able to roll in Friday, July 17 around noon till, looks like the venue will be open till 9 p.m. For Tweak and Tune and everything, and then the competition on Saturday and Sunday, July 18, 19. And of course, it's indoors, I assume. I guess most everybody was indoors this year?
Oh, yeah. All the cars fit in there, pretty good. It looked like maybe had a little room to expand, but not a ton, right. But I think they could even fit a few more in there if they needed to. But I think they had already hit cap, and I'm sure they're going to cap it again for this year. So
yeah.
I imagine it'll be much of the same.
Yeah, because there's a lot of even if somebody, whatever attrition there is from the year before, of course, new people who didn't get in the year before want to get in, so those spots pretty much fill immediately, especially at that event. And then I guess
just like Aggie, as one drops off, there's already 3 to back them up,
ready to come. Yeah, so I guess if anybody wants more information as far as that goes, it's I think the Facebook group. There's a Steel Valley Regional Facebook. If you just look up Steel Valley Regional SVR, that is where kind of seems like most information is going. At least that way, there's one spot to go versus whenever it gets posted on everybody's different Facebook groups and Larry's personal page and everything else, then it gets a little confusing. So I'm glad they did that, having that Facebook group at least gives one spot for people to see it. So that
you only have to update one thing instead of like several things,
Right. Speaking of SVR, I guess following this year, we go ahead and get all the controversies out while we're talking about it.
There were controversies?
Well, people talking about stuff. So,
Right.
friend and also sponsor of the show. Like I said, SVR, for transparency's sake, is sponsoring some episodes to get the word out on SVR. That's not why we're talking about SVR right now, but you will hear advertisements here and there just to keep the awareness up and keep everybody rolling forward. But also Nick Apicella, who runs Resonix, who sponsors this show as well, put out a video with some of the judging information that was provided by the event. I think Richard in particular, because he's kind of provided that information for years with Mecca, prior when he would do that. He has with the Star CA formats, and then continued to provide that data to some of the, or to the competitors as a reference point. And like anything, I mean, from my perspective, I when I came into this, I started heavily on the administrative side, in competition, very late 90s, early 2000s, and then got involved doing SQology and linked these big events together and started working on, administrating them to try to make it more consistent for the competitors, to where if you went to Aggieland and SVR and the hybrid show back in the day and whatever else, that there would be consistency there, because they were all kind of just wild west doing their own things. And in that process, I was like, maybe with this data I'll find the solution to sound quality consistency.
Right. Yeah.
Like, we'll find the magic key when this all comes together. And so then, of course, within it's been a decade now, and I have thousands upon thousands of score sheets and data and spreadsheets and everything else, and still have no clue.
There is no secret.
And I've said this before, I'll say it again. I would be more worried if judges were ultra consistent with each other, especially when they're not accustomed to working. Usually in these money round style formats, it's not a consistent score sheet. It's not consistent music. It's, for everybody involved. At Aggieland, the judges who were most consistent with each other, who had the least amount of deviation, were the judges who were accustomed to the score sheet, accustomed to the music, and accustomed to working together,
Right, yeah.
And I think, that is going to be a fairly consistent thing. In a Eurofinals, for example, they do two judges, sometimes a third. They'll have a check judge if there's something that looks, once they get the score sheets back and there's a large amount of diversity between, the two judges, then they'll bring in a third judge to check them on demand. It's not consistent. But the competitors, when they're done, they only see one score sheet. There's one score sheet that is basically the average of the two scores. They see each line item, but it's essentially the two judges together.
Right, yeah.
So they're not even giving you the data to see what judge did what. It's just, this is your outcome. To me, that's a little bit worrisome at times. I mean, I want to see that data as a competitor.
Yeah, and it's kind of filtered not just your like the score that each judge gave you, but kind of also the placement that they had you overall. So it kind of gives you a little bit of information as to kind of where you stack up for each judge in the overalls.
As far as what Richard does, yeah. To be clear, I was speaking of like EMA Eurofinals, how they kind of clump it together. But in this case, there's kind of the scorecard that he provides, and we did the same thing after Aggieland.
Oh yeah, it's not a new thing.
Yeah, the data has been out there. It's just that it's like if you choose to look at it from a cynical point of view, you can make the numbers say whatever story you want them to say at the end of the day. There's enough. There's enough flexibility there to do that.
And there was some discrepancies between from judge to judge, but honestly, there was more than one vehicle breakdown. There was at least one vehicle that I got in where I started to judge the vehicle. Hit play, and it's the 3-position track, and it starts on the left side, and there was no sound, and then it goes to center, and there's sound, but it's all the way on the right. So I just hit stop. got back
Whoa,
out.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah. And I was like, is this the way you want me to judge the vehicle?
Right.
And so if a judge ever asks you that, the answer is always no.
Right.
For,
If the judge throws a flag and gets out of your car, just assume that it's broken and just
right. Don't say, yeah, it's ready.
Right.
It's broken if he does that. So
Right.
the guy, he looks at me and it's like, oh, I have it on the wrong preset. I'm like, okay. So he switches the preset. I get back in, and sure enough, the left side's working now. So I score it, and it did all right. But I know of at least another judge that listened to it and scored it with the whole thing not working on the left side.
Just the way they heard it.
Correct. And honestly, at that show, they don't have a lot of time for letting people fix their stereos and all that kind of thing. So I can totally understand one way or the other. But I wanted to see his best foot forward, and maybe it was something fast. If it was something like an amplifier, I don't have time for you to switch out an amplifier.
Right.
But I just wanted to make sure it was as good as it's going to get, because there was other vehicles that were broken, and they couldn't get it fixed in time. So I got out and asked, is this how you want it? And they're like, yeah, I'm having a problem with my RCA or something like that. And I was like, okay. So we just score it the way it is.
Right.
But in this case, the gentleman just switched it to a different preset, and it was much better. But so that's why you see some of that crazy discrepancies between judges. And also, there is some people that kind of fiddle with their settings and stuff like that in between judges. I know it's not a good idea. It's definitely not a best practice, but I definitely know it happened throughout the weekend for sure.
Yeah. Every time a judge tells you to gives you some feedback, and then they get in and change something, and
yeah.
I've been guilty of that myself. So
yeah, and a lot of judges didn't really have time to give any feedback at all. So in that case, they didn't know to change anything.
Right.
But they pay a lot of money, and so I always try to give them at least one good thing, one bad thing, even if there's not much time. I mean, there's at least a minute I can give people between cars.
Right.
So, but that unfortunately may cause them to change something, and then it's different for the next judge. So maybe that's not a best practice at a show like that, but either way, that's the way I like to do it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the middle seat gate, that happened. So there were some other competitors that elected to have us judge vehicles from non-standard seating positions, and so that added a weird element to the show that I don't think will be part of it going forward, because I think there were some people complaining about that one.
What was your take on that as a judge? I know what my take is. I've said it before, but I mean, being thrown in that position as a judge, and just situationally, spatially, as far as actually, sitting and judging the vehicles, and then in terms of results on the score sheet, what was your takeaway on that?
So I think one car it helped, and another car it really didn't help. So I would say don't make last second changes and stuff like that. Just do it the same way you've been doing it all year.
Yeah. But as far as like actually, having the seating position, I mean, do you think it's actually an advantage as far as the seating position goes?
Not at all. Yeah. No, because I mean, the guy that won, it was his regular car.
Right.
Mark Bruno won again, so that's the second time winning SVR, and he has just a standard 2-seat layout like every car, and so sit in the driver position sounded great.
Well, and you have compromises either way. So the people who think that they have to have, or that center seat is a dramatic advantage, I have not seen that consistently at all. I mean, I think some people might be more wowed by it. Some people might think that their car is really that much better that way. Some people might, really be focused on that. But when it comes down to closing your eyes and hitting the score sheet, like, you have compromises on the score sheet regardless. So
Yeah, I mean it's all scored off like the boundaries of the vehicle and stuff like that. So that doesn't change whether I'm sitting in the left seat, the middle seat, the back seat, wherever. So I don't really think that moving that really helps anybody.
oh, agreed. I guess to sum up things as far as my take, as far as the scoring diversity and stuff. I mean, we've had this topic come up before from other people, and not the first time. And I certainly don't take it personally or see it as a attack on it. I think it's a valid criticism, but it's also kind of just the nature of it. I would still rather have multiple judges who don't all agree versus one judge declaring the fate at a major event. And the cars are so good now at the top and in the middle, and like, even the worst of the cars are still at the point where, like, I drive it home.
Oh yeah,
it's like I mean, you could be 15th and 20th in some of these places, and they're still,
and it's a great selling car. Yeah,
some of the best in the country. That's why they're there. So being able to declaratively say that this car is so much better than that, when it comes to score sheet, no. And that's where there's a couple factors. I mean, no judge in that 5, 7, 8, 9 minutes tops that you have to score a car, no judge is being able to give all parts of the score sheet an equal amount of attention, all standpoints with all the variable. I mean, however many tracks are available, everything else. Like, there's a whole lot of ways to look at something, and a whole lot of biases, a whole lot in a good way. Bias means what you're talking about. I don't mean like brand bias or anything like that. I just mean, like, if you remove all bias, I've said before, if you remove bias, you remove competency.
Right.
It's like you can remove all the bias, but you're going left with somebody who's incompetent to judge. And so I would rather someone with a little, maybe not the most perfect hearing and biased knowing what they want, but I would rather have that be part of the feedback that I get in with other people who have their biases with their experience with everything,
Yeah.
Because that's what really gives a well-rounded car. Different body sizes, types, everybody feels and is affected by different parts of the music a little bit differently. And that's where what we're going for here is really a bell curve of compromises, getting to what car does the most, pleases the most people across the board. And some people that's going to please, some people that's not. I would say the people over time who have brought forth the criticisms like this, and again, I'm not negating the criticism. It's valid in its place. But I would say those same people, if they're going to tune, if they tune, and most of them do, they're not going to change their entire tune based on somebody saying that it's not their favorite car.
Yeah.
They too have their biases of what they prefer and what they've leaned into and everything else. And what each judge ends up doing over time is concentrating on a fairly small portion of the score sheet. If something's out of whack, yeah, they're going to catch it. But for the most part, they kind of have their median grade that they're giving everything. And then they're really honing in on a couple points of a couple songs on a portion of the score sheet that they happen to be really sensitive to that day.
Yeah, yeah.
And you see most of that fluctuation happen on those little areas. But if you again, this is where knowing your judging team, working with people, from an event director standpoint, when you have the right judges working together and of your ideal selection, and then giving them the tools to have the right score sheet to do what they need to do to have latitude, and the music that they know to be able to maximize their efforts. What I've seen over years is that's where the whole comes together. So that's where, like at the hybrid show back in the day, there was not a dedicated money round. It was a collection of the different orgs and then their most experienced judges, and then that was the overall. So in that way, you had judges who were very familiar with their score sheet, very familiar with their music, very familiar with their way of doing things. And then, yes, they had their outcome at the org level, but then that was combined, into the overall quote unquote money round. And that's where over time I've seen the most consistent from a results and everybody stayed on the same page standpoint. I mean, I think that one year actually that you won it was one of our most consistent outcomes as far as judging goes in score sheets.
Yeah, it was. It's definitely the prototype for how a lot of money rounds are done these days. Even though they do it as a money round, that style is still, I think, the most fair way to come up with a complete evaluation, for a car.
Yeah. And again, even if not everybody has to necessarily agree, it's more getting all those kind of look at as each dimension of the score sheet coming together. And then, unfortunately, I don't really have a good way to show that other than just seeing how it goes over time and knowing that that's kind of the way it works. And maybe we get to the point where we were able to kind of prove that in the math better on a more micro level. But, that's where I would want to be seeing more a average and a median of everybody's results in each area, and then see how I'm trending above or below everybody else to know kind of where my strengths are and where my weaknesses are, and then know if I'm okay with leaving that or if I need to work on that,
Yeah, and how you did with each judge, I mean, gives you some context. If you know what that judge is kind of focusing on and what they expect to hear and stuff like that, that gives you some context as to what you need to work on, honestly.
And it's, at the end of the day, it's kind of, some of it is Any Given Sunday. Some of it is what all came together, right time, right place. If it wasn't that, then again, as we've discussed before, it's kind of, then it's SPL. And then everybody kind of knows they know where they stand before they show up, and the gamble is kind of gone. As it sits now, a lot of people have a shot.
Right.
And we've seen that the people who don't take wild swings that don't get, oh man, I didn't win this cup this year, so I'm tearing the whole thing apart. Like, the people who iterate versus starting from scratch every time really come out ahead. I mean, that's where your guys like Mark Bruno, your Natans, your Jeffrey Howells, your, those people, they're iterating. They're not reinventing the wheel every time.
Yeah, because if they didn't get the top spot, it's only by maybe like a point or something like that.
Or much less.
Yeah. And so, you just got to focus on, and sometimes it all looks like good stuff, but, maybe you lost a point in, width or something like that, So you have to kind of look at it. Where can you add a little bit, but not take away also on the score sheet,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think from the event director standpoint and everybody who's involved in especially these bigger events and stuff, every single show there's an enormous amount of effort that goes into trying to continuously improve this, trying to be more transparent, trying to give more information to the competitors, trying to make that process smoother, trying to make it more the effort is definitely going in trying to make it more consistent, but you're also bringing together a whole bunch of people from all over the country who, no matter what, we're not doing this. This isn't NASCAR. We're not doing this every week for a season,
Right.
We're doing this 2 or 3 times a year, basically. You don't have that real ability to get that to a point where it's at whatever that level would be, and knowing how to get there. There's not enough opportunities there to do that. So we're doing obviously the best that can be done with the tools available, and I don't think anybody's trying to make something worse or unfair or
no, everybody wants to do the best that they can do.
Yeah,
I mean, the judging crew we had, we had Harry Kimura, Fred Lynch, my brother Chris, and myself. We had Scott Welch, Mick Wallace. So I mean, all of these are finals judges for one organization or another. So well practiced, judges, each in different organizations and have a different, viewpoint, for sure, which is why you get, slightly different results, even on the same car.
Right. Moving on from SVR, I guess the primary events after that, at least that you were involved with, would be like the ECA.
Yeah, I did all.
WCA finals.
Yeah, all three of the CA, regional finals.
Mm-hmm.
So the ECA finals we did in West Virginia, and we had a really good time. The weather was super cooperative. It wasn't real hot. We did it at the Quaker Steak and Lube near Charleston, West Virginia, and it was a really great show. The host hotel, was right next door to the restaurant, so you just walk across the parking lot and you're at the show. And so it was
that's nice.
Yeah, it was amazing actually, and we had a pretty great participation. For second finals. It's a little bit less than the previous year, but I think competition in general has been slightly down this year. But we had good participation, and same four judges that we had the previous year. So we had Fred from California and Nick Adams, Cassie, and myself for the East Coast representing. And it was a great show. And what you were saying is, there was at least a car or two that I had listened to at that contest that sounded better than it did at SVR, and the competitor told me that they had changed nothing at all. So I have no idea why it sounded different,
right.
Whether it's myself or just the temperature was lower. I don't really know why, but there was more than one car that I thought sounded definitely better at ECA finals than it did at SVR.
And that's so tough as a judge, especially people who do multiple events that want the feedback and everything. And it's like, man, you yourself as a tuner or whatever, I mean, from what you thought you were at from morning to evening can change. Like, and it's you and your car. Like,
yeah, I mean, and some of it is, some of it equipment, sounds a little bit different at different temperatures, or what have you. Some of it is our hearing mechanism changes as it's hotter or colder or higher barometric pressure or what have you. So it's kind of a moving target, and I wish that it was simpler, where you could just sort of set it and forget it, but not that I've seen.
Yeah. In any of this, when it comes to game day, the judges are essentially the athletes, and your car kind of is what it is in that situation. But just like if you're a physical athlete of some sort, whether you're running or whatever, your performance, not only you versus the other people, but you versus yourself, is going to vary based on your sleep patterns, your fueling, your time of day, all those things.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really no different for judges and their hearing and everything. It's, again, that especially at some of these bigger events where you're doing 20-plus cars a day, I don't really have a problem with, I don't really see as much of an issue of being able to go through and do those cars. To me, having lots of cars and being able to go back to back to back to back is actually, a lot of ways, at least personally, and I see it with judges too, more consistent, because you're really able to. I know we're not supposed to compare car to car, but you still kind of end up do. So you're very dialed in on your scoring.
Yeah, because I mean, some cars got to be like a 12 in tonality, and some of them's going to be like a 17.
Right.
So I mean, wherever you set that first car, everything else is based on that.
Yeah, it's going to fluctuate around, but order is going to come into some of that, temperatures, fueling, all that stuff is. But that's where, again, the multiple judges and everything, and having it done consistent in the patterns that we try to do and everything, it's still the best car comes to the top. Even in those cases, you're not going to be able to give that perfect. I don't think any judge anywhere on earth is going to be able to give that perfect feedback of, oh, well, you changed 4K by 2 dB from the last time I heard it. It's like,
Yeah, it's. I don't think. I mean, I've met some people that can maybe hear that good, that can remember things from 2 months ago or something. But I know that I can't.
yeah, and I don't think that makes you a better or worse judge. I personally, I don't think that's what we need to be looking for, when it comes to judges, to do that. That's why we have equipment. But even we all know that if you are using a single mic RTA and you move it a little bit, you could have very different measurements
Absolutely. Yeah.
from one day to the next or whatever. So that comes into seating. It comes into what else is in the car. I mean, there's so many variables, and that's again part of what kind of makes it interesting in what we do. I think if you took out a lot of those variables, it would be less fun. But if you're, again, if you're looking for machine consistency outcome based on, data alone, everything else, it's just not going to happen. But anyway, ECA, do you know about how many cars were at ECA?
I'd have to look it back up because that's been months ago, but it was, it was 20 something, maybe,
Okay.
maybe I think it was like 28 or something like that. But I'm not 100% sure. I have to go back and look it up, honestly.
In fact, I can probably, that's 24.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find it quicker than
Yeah.
because Richard always sends out the results stuff.
Right.
But it was a great show.
And then I guess after that was the MCA finals in Texas.
Yeah. We just kind of worked our way across the U.S. from east to west. So, we did the MCA finals Aggie Light over at Pate's place. And that was a great show for our inaugural MCA finals. It was not super duper hot, but it was hot enough to where we were running the cars with the AC.
Yeah.
Because it was done outside. We didn't have access to the install bay for this one. So, and I'd like to say that people that didn't have working air conditioning, got the highest chance of winning. I'm as fair as I can be, but when it's 100 degrees in there, it gets hard. It affects you, man.
Yeah, it's like I need out of here.
Yeah, I wish it didn't, but it does.
Deton won the ECA finals, right?
Yeah, he got the cup.
Yeah, and then Jeffrey Howell won the MCA finals.
Yep.
And then, so was WCA, was that 2 days this year or was it 1 day?
It was a single day. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then who was it? Bruno who won the West or was it?
Yeah, I think it's Mark. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think they were really close though, like within.
They were. It was, and it's always super close between those two guys.
Yeah.
They both have excellent sounding vehicles.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see that kind of, especially in close proximity like that, having two cars who are clearly some of the best in the world or best in the U.S. at least.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to see that kind of rivalry that close, that consistent.
Yeah, it's they really have like a really cool culture on the West Coast. Great camaraderie, and I think they have that, in other places, but it seems to be really close there. Everybody's really amiable and friendly with each other. It feels like almost like one of those DIMA get-togethers or something like that.
Yeah.
It feels kind of less pressured, even though it is sort of a finals, but I don't know, other places it just seems, more competitive and less, friendly. But the California, it was really cool. I'll always enjoy going over there and judging at those shows. I get over there about 2 or 3 times a year, judging, different stuff like Brian's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the one at Brian's shop, and then
right.
And then the WCA finals. I've been over there for a couple times now, and it's always a good time. But yeah, it was a late one. The WCA finals, we did it all on one day, but it made it kind of a long day.
Okay.
But we got through it.
And the weather is usually good for that.
Yeah, it wasn't hot at all. So luckily, it's kind of starting to be moving into fall because it was in September, and it was pretty nice. Like the last show for Scott's place up there.
Oh yeah, because he's moving.
Yeah.
And I guess you had the same 4 judges, west and east, on that one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So same crew for that one. We had a different judge for the MCA finals. We were using Mike Leal.
And we didn't have Cassie either.
Right.
Because her plane got canceled or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was.
It was the plan, but it just didn't really happen.
So we actually had 3 judges there because Fred couldn't make it either. So it was you and Richard and Mike Leal, which Mike Leal did a fantastic job as far as
too, so. He's been practicing. He's really good.
Yep.
His scores and placements were right in line with everyone else. So so that worked out really well.
Yeah, because I think actually as far as placements go, him and Richard agreed all the way down the line. But it was all still, it wasn't like it was a dramatic difference between them. So yeah, it was cool to see that because I mean I think something that with the, and I'm not here to defend or oppose or either way, but with the judges who have been coming up with the Star CA format, most of the judges that have come up through the Star CA format are cultivated new judging. It's not taking away from what's out there. It's not repurposing anything. It's adding to the available judging pool. So we're not trying to steal anyone's judges or anything like that. Right.
We want people that are passionate about it and have some skill with listening and stuff like that. We do judges trainings for most each region once a year, and then the people that express interest and have some talent with it, we'll have them kind of work along with another judge in a multi-point event. So all of the weight doesn't fall onto their shoulders for the first time judging.
Right.
And so that gives them, some confidence to score, and compare, contrast, with the other judge. And, if they have someone to lean on, if they have questions and stuff like that. So it's kind of an easier way to develop judges without just throwing them in the fire,
Right. And in all these cases, these were all multi-org events. So I know MCA, we had MASQ, we had IASCA, we had EMMA. It was actually the MCA event was IASCA state finals as well. And then I'm not sure. I assume ECA had what did ECA have as far as orgs?
Yeah, I had IASCA and EMMA. And I can't remember if I had mask. I got to look that up.
Yeah,
I should be more prepared.
No, it's not. It's not a test. But I was just throwing it out there.
But
that
yes,
all these are not only focused on that, but also cultivating everybody along with it. So
I think we did have mask because Joe was judging. So
yeah, I was gonna say you pretty much have a judge there ready to go. So
so we had pretty much all of them represented again, like the previous year. And we always try to be, inclusive, and it gives a chance for everybody to get kind of those last minute points, to qualify for finals if they weren't already qualified. And all of the judges that we were using for the other organizations were finals judges that ended up, judging down in Birmingham.
Yeah. Speaking of Birmingham, I guess that was then your next stop. I don't remember where I was, but I was not there.
Yeah, I didn't see you there.
Nope, I was not there. I assume it looked like they pulled off having like the car show included this year, like they had talked about last year, but kind of fell through. But then
it was actually cool too. They had some really neat cars there.
Yeah, they had like a car show going, and then it looked like IASCA had the listening room again, like they had last year.
Yeah, they had some better signage and posted at times when it was available for people to listen to. And I got a chance to go listen to it this year. So that was really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, they did a pretty good job. I thought it was going to be a little bit lower turnout, but it really didn't seem like it was. They did a great job filling up the venue, and I think everybody had a really good time that I could see. And they had Iasca had Troy taking photos of everyone's cars that was entered, so that was really cool. They had posted out all the photos that he had taken, and
okay.
that was a really neat surprise. I didn't expect that.
That's cool. And what was your were you judging it all, or were you displaying, or what were
Yeah,
you
so a little bit. I don't like to just make it easy on myself. So
why start now?
so yeah, we had bought some booth space for Sound Factory, and then I had entered my car into two of the organization's finals, and then I was also judging for MASQ for the season opener.
Okay.
So yeah, I did a little bit of everything.
Nice. And I guess everything seemed to. I mean, I didn't really hear a bunch of hustle and bustle afterwards, so I guess everything pretty much went okay.
Yeah, I mean, the event venue was a little bit more expensive this year. I think there was some kind of surprise charges and stuff like that the venue had added on that was not really required previous years, and so I think that made the overall event a tad bit more expensive for each one of the organizations that was involved. So that was really kind of the only like downside to it. But I think otherwise, I think they kind of did a better job on all the things that we had talked about, after finals last year. I think they really made some improvements to the event, and it went off really well. I mean, judging was done in a pretty timely manner. We were out of there at a decent time on Sunday, so it was done really well.
So I guess that brings us to our final topic, which would be finals next year in 2026, which was fairly recently announced.
Yeah.
And that was, at least I saw it announced from MASQ, but it's going to be, let's see here.
Yeah, it's going to be a joint venture, of course, like all finals tend to be now.
It's tough. It's tough for everybody just to kind of figure out their own thing, because I mean, even seeing that with Star CA or ICA, MCA, WCA, whatever, like people want that, but then when it comes to travel, like the entry fees and everything else is one thing, but just getting there and getting hotel and everything else, like it's expensive to do a lot of traveling over and over and over again for everything, and you want to do it and you feel pressure to do it to a certain degree, I think, but then it becomes this is a hobby for everybody involved, and even if this is their full-time job, it still comes out of hobby funds. It's not like anybody's paying you. It's not in our case where we're both in the industry. Like it's not like you as the owner of your shop are looking forward to spending money to.
Right. There's really not a return on investment there, but
exactly, it's a passion project.
Yeah, we do it because we love it.
Right.
And but yeah, this year, we're going to be in Conway, Arkansas. September 26th is 27th.
Yep.
So that'll be kind of a new place for us. It'll be joint. I mean, everybody's been invited, but right now the confirmed ones, there's going to be MASQ, MAUSA, and then the ICA, which is kind of the oversight committee for all of the CAs. So, I'm sure there's some confusion, that goes along with that. And I understand. But, everybody that watches college football,
right?
Each region, everybody has their own region. So like here, it's like the SEC, they got the Big Ten and all these other conferences. So, like ECA is one conference, MCA is another conference, and WCA is another. So, you can win your conference and be the champion, like an SEC champion or whatever. But, the ICA finals that we've been working towards for the last few years is kind of like that NCAA championship.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's more of a bottom up thought process versus top down. If you remember, and I was just trying to look up the rule book from back in the day. I'm not sure if the 17 had it, but back in the day, Iasca, had everybody divide up by regions, like what you're saying.
Yeah.
So each region was like numbered, and then those regions kind of had their own finals, everything else, and then you obviously had your country finals after that, and that's where like your 3X events that were regional events and those kinds of things were actually meant something back then more, because that was an actual similar to, Mecca had the state finals.
Yeah.
So
some states were easier than others.
Right. Right. Yeah. Some states took it more serious than others. Yeah. But it was still a chance for each region, for the people, because not everybody's going to be able to go across the country, especially when you're in the far,
absolutely.
And I would say kind of the way it is right now, as far as kind of where things are lining up, ECA is more your Ohio, West Virginia, MCA is more Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, WCA is obviously more, California. Right now, they're more kind of hyper focused on those areas. There were zones. I'm sorry, I just saw it. So like zone 1 was Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Zone 2 was Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, West Virginia. Zone 3, and so on. So that's how Iasca did it way back.
Yeah.
And Zone 11 was Hawaii. So sorry, guys.
Wow.
Even Canada was on there. Zone 14 was British Columbia. Anyway, so yeah, I think, having it this way where it's more, and it, again, not to compare and contrast to a certain degree without saying one's better or not, but, you kind of have to have those local events that might draw 8, 9, 10 people, but, consistent enough to get people out who aren't ready to go across the country because they don't know where they line up. They don't know what it is.
Right.
They don't know anything about it. So you kind of have those more of a get together style attitude about it for those local things, and then have the regional finals where people kind of get together and see where they stack up there. And then you might have somebody, again, 1 or 2 people gained in this is a big number.
Yeah.
So, if you're able to pull those regionals together and then say, hey, now you can go up against, everybody else, and there's consistency, there's a lineage. It's not just a different event, but we're calling it finals. There's a path to it. So
correct.
I think that's important.
Yeah, and nobody gets, just like an automatic invite. So the only people that get it like an automatic invite is basically the people that won the cups. You know what I mean? So the three regions, those cup winners are already invited. Beyond that, it's basically people that won their regional finals, and we're still trying to figure out what the cutoff is going to be as far as number of cars, and then are we looking at like the top 3 per class or top 2 per class for each region, and how many cars does that look like for ICA? But that's kind of what it's gonna be. So you got to do really well in your regional finals to even get to the ICA finals. So it's not just like you pay and show up and it's another contest. There's some qualifications that have to be met.
Right. All of that is easier said than done. Obviously, there's going to be a lot to figure out along the way for everybody. But
it's our first time doing it. So and that's the if everything goes perfect kind of a plan.
Right.
Unfortunately, the reality is not the top 3 from every single class from every regional would be even willing to drive that far, or
correct.
Or what have you. So that's the idea, but we'll see how it goes and who's available, and so on and so forth. So
yeah, but I think too, having the track record now of having consistent judging, throughout, having consistency of the score sheet, having consistency of the music used, and having the variables on the music, I think a lot of people, at least internationally that I've seen, they appreciate having the music selection and that of stuff that is maybe sometimes more tolerable to listen to. But
Hey, I'm excited for it. I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be it's it's the first for us, and I think it's gonna be a great show.
And with each of those, I mean, I think the good part is again, it potentially raises all boats because as you have more of those regional local events working together, you have more potential for the other orgs to be involved because there's obviously a event promoter involved there, which is what the orgs without somebody promoting the events are a nothing burger. It's just okay, okay, congratulations, you have rules, a score sheet, and some music, but if nobody's putting on the events, who cares?
It's not really a thing.
And if your only event then is finals, like what makes that
It's not very prestigious. It's just a show.
right? You have far more going on at an event like SVR versus finals now, as far as that goes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because there's another layer on top of the orgs.
right, and so something kind of point all that together. So as it is right now, it's kind of, and again, I'm not here to disparage it. It's just I've said this over and over again to a certain degree, but it's still like finals is the different orgs coming together without much cohesion, putting on a 3x event essentially.
Right.
Yes, it's finals, but it's like there's pretty much everybody who competes ends up being there to a certain degree who's going to be there. It's not like we might say there's a barrier, but there's not a huge barrier for people to come because at the end of the day, they got to fill spots. Like there's not enough people doing this in the world to block people out,
Yeah. The barrier is the cost and the travel,
right. But
That's
it's
really
kind of
it.
self-selected.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying something before and I cut you off. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was about to say, yeah. I mean, with the ICA finals, Emma and MASQ will also be there. But as I understand, Emma will have probably new music for this season. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Because I know it's usually
Because
every other year.
the last one was 2024, I think. So yeah, it should be new music this one. I hope.
Right. So I guess they do that. Is that in the springtime when they set all that?
So yeah, the actually the Emma Eurofinals is the same weekend as Aggieland 26. So that weekend will be when that week leading up to that weekend will be when they introduce the music and train the judges on the music for the coming 2 years. And then they'll use the old music for that finals because really, so the Eurofinals that are in 2026, the weekend of Aggieland, are actually the 2025 finals.
Oh, okay.
So the finals is done on the prior music, but then they train for the new music going into the new year.
Got it.
So it's kind of like back when IASCA finals was during spring break.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so it was kind of like the finals for the previous year.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, but
That's March 28th, 29th, I think.
Yes, something like that. Yeah, March 28, 29. So yeah, and I'm not sure. It's always tough that time of year, which ends up being like the only time that we can all do it, and it's decent weather. But also Easter's right around then every year, and then Eurofinals is right around then, and it's just and more people are going to Eurofinals now, so that's one more thing to plan around. But should be good, should be good as far as that goes. But yeah, so by finals though, yeah, there'll definitely be new music if everything goes as it usually does. And I think the only time that the music dragged was when we had COVID because they couldn't get to the recording studio and all that. But yeah, we'll see what this year, what this Emma music release brings or doesn't bring.
It's always something.
Yeah, and I don't know if IASCA's going to make any changes there or not. Usually that doesn't come until close to spring by the time we kind of get that information. So
yeah, I'll have to talk to Travis and see what's new for the year. Of course, they release all that stuff, so everybody finds out all at the same time.
And then I assume MSQ will be pretty close because they kind of made more of those swings last year when we talked to them at the beginning of this year. So, and they don't seem to like taking any big swings at it, which I think is smart. But
yeah, just like competitors, small incremental changes.
yeah.
Just like the ICA format. Really, one of the only things we're changing is like the 2-seat score sheet for it to align like the single seat score sheets. Where it has the definitions.
Okay.
Because the 2-seat score sheet didn't really get that treatment coming into this year. So Richard's been hard at work at making those two kind of line up and look very similar.
I gotcha. Cool. But yeah, and I think the music is pretty much staying how it is as far as the Star City.
Yeah, we haven't really discussed music, which means it's probably staying exactly the same. If
which
anything,
is funny
because it's dropping some stuff,
Yeah, because it's a lot of work to get. I mean, there's a lot of information there, so it's good. So, it's a lot of work to add anything.
It is. I mean, because anytime they want anyone, so if any judges are like, "Hey, I want to add such and such," you're like, "Okay, you have to be responsible for getting the notes for that,
right?
Because every song has to have track notes. Why are you using this track? What you're listening for, and stuff like that. So that, but we have a pretty large library already, and I think most people can find something in there that they like judging with.
Nice. I will say on the note of Aggieland, I've done things fairly low pressure this year as far as I kind of, opened up invite, private invite pre-registration based on kind of the plan that I set forth after this year's. And so it's been kind of in stages, based on prior engagement, everything else.
Previous participation.
Yep. So registration doesn't really officially open up to about the same time as SVR, so like mid-January. So, but
cool.
As far as available slots, we're down to single digits now. If I go to full cap, so Aggieland is essentially full. We'll just say it's full now. If somebody hasn't, either doesn't know for sure if they did, because a lot of times it's such a routine now, people kind of see an invoice come across for whatever and they just pay it and be done, and then they're like, hey, am I registered? I'm like, yep, here it is. Yeah. Here. You did it at 2:04 a.m. on the 17th.
Right.
So, but yeah, so I do have it set up to kind of, try to get everybody on schedule as far as making sure everybody's committed, everything else, because obviously any of those any changes get exponentially more difficult as we go forward.
Yeah.
And once the schedule is set and everything else, like all that is so fine tuned that changes are the enemy. So there's a discount essentially to be pre-registered and committed and paid up by mid-January. So again, check your email boxes for SQology, and if you don't have an invite, you think you should have an invite, you think you did or did not register, just get a hold of me and I will let you know where things stand. So there's definitely opportunity to still get in, but it's also essentially just consider the book's closed as far as that goes. There's probably not going to be any open registration slots available.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that show.
So yeah,
it's always a great time.
Yeah, and I think, the more that I've committed to the format and everything, of doing it the way we talked about and everything else, I think I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really smooth. So should go good. That's not, I'm not making a sales pitch for it here. I'm just saying, just making sure people are aware of what's going on, because that way they don't go, well, I didn't know what was going on. Yeah. It's like, well, maybe you didn't, but it seems to not matter how much you say something, people are still going to be like, well, I didn't know anything about that. It's like, you can send them letters in the mail and they'll still be like, what? I had no idea. So I've tried to reach out to everybody, who I know would be there who isn't, signed up, or at least, and some people are, with the changes, with not having, all the orgs involved, everything else. I understand that's, a commitment for people who use that opportunity to, get points for finals and everything else. On the plus side, for most of the people who are, at least, it seems like the people who are at Aggieland are either, local to Texas or West Coast. And either one of those cases, if you're in California, you have ample opportunity to get points for finals, because there's plenty of events there. And if you're in Texas, there's ample opportunity to get ready for finals. So I don't, if anything, having all the orgs there kind of detracts from the local events. So I don't think that the orgs are going to suffer, from that standpoint. It's certainly not the goal. The goal is to have the best event, possible. And, we'll see. It's always kind of an experiment. We'll see how it goes this year. But, like I said, pretty much got a full house as it is. I'm satisfied there. We've got judges all lined up, got everything else ready to go. Yeah. So it's just going to be finalizing, some of the other stuff. And the judges are going to be very, we're not going to be using anything existing. There's no existing format or score sheets or anything we're using. The judges are going to have 100% participation in the music selection and in what they use for themselves, and the score sheet, all of that. So that way everybody is able to do exactly what they need to do the best job possible.
Cool.
So I think it's going to be fun.
It's going to be pretty unique.
Yeah. See how it works, take a swing, and keep on swinging. But I think it's pretty much hits, 80% of what everybody said they wanted after Aggieland this past year. So
you had the
survey,
exit survey, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I think it's gonna be fun. Anyway, so I guess we'll see how things pan out, what changes, and we'll go from there.
Sounds pretty good.
Anything else on your mind other than getting through the holidays?
No, I mean, we got stuff coming up, right after the holidays. We got that Florida home audio show that Angie's doing.
Oh, yeah. Are you, you're doing the booth there and stuff again?
Yeah. Me and awesome. Chris will be there again. We had such a good time last year. It was, I don't know that we made a lot of sales out of it, but it was such a good time. I really want to return. So we made a commitment to come back, and, we're going to have a great time again.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's let's see here, February 20 to 22. It's the Florida International Audio Expo.
Yeah,
and it's going to be in Tampa again, same location. And it looks like it's going to be Iasca with the money round, and I think get with Travis or Angie on that as far as registration and all that goes.
Yeah. I think Travis, Angie, or even Keith, has some input there. So if they're not full, I would definitely reach out to them, see if you can get
because I think they're
it's definitely
limited to 30
show.
spots or so.
Yeah. Well, it's. I mean, how many opportunities do you get to go listen to some super high end audio gear?
Well, and last year, I mean, everybody proved me wrong in that regard. I don't know if we really followed up on both of our schedules got crazy after that point, but there was a ton of people demoing.
It was incredible, man. I'd had no idea what to expect,
right?
But they. I got to give Angie and her crew, a lot of credit, because they did a great job at sending everyone out to the cars.
Yep.
Because it was like nonstop demos. It was really a lot of fun. It was one of the more fun shows that I've gone to. I didn't compete at all. I was just there on behalf of the Sound Factory and sound quality for car audio, trying to promote that.
Mm-hmm.
But we did so many demos. It just ended up being one of my favorite shows in that aspect. We had to switch around people because, we had a booth inside that we had to have a person. So we had Brian come down with us, Brian Lowry, one of our sales guys.
Yeah.
And then me and Chris, had our vehicles there. So we would kind of do like round robin to give somebody a break to go listen to some of the listening rooms and stuff like that. Because we, none of us had, been to one of those types of shows, and we wanted to go check out the cool gear, listen to some high end speakers and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's cool that they're doing that. So, yeah, get with one of those folks on that, or if you don't know who to get, I guess just message SQology or whatever, and we'll point you in the right direction if you don't know who to get a hold of. But yeah, that's gonna be a cool show to see what happens this year on that, and yeah, we'll see how it goes from there. We'll talk again soon.
Excellent.